So as a business owner, I use my credit cards for pretty much all my purchases. And even just in my personal life, I use a credit card pretty much in every opportunity that I can when I'm making purchases or having recurring expenses. But before I even get into the explanation as to why I always use my credit card if I can, I just want to say that, using a credit card, whether it's a huge benefit or a huge disadvantage, very much depends on the individual. And I don't recommend this for everyone. There are some people that don't use a credit card in a really productive way, and it can be really harmful to them. A credit card is a tool. Tools can be used for good or they can be used for harm. So just keep this in mind before deciding if you should be using your credit card for business purchases and for personal purchases. But so now why I use a credit card for all my purchases and why this might make sense for you as well, especially if you have kind of a similar approach and you use credit cards in the same way that I do. Well, for starters, using a credit card and especially using it responsibly and appropriately will improve your credit score. And having a good credit score is important for many things like getting business loans, lines of credit, credit cards, mortgages, car loans, sometimes, applying to rent properties, things like that. So it is important to have a good credit score, and using your credit card well and having a low utilization rate for your credit can be a great way to increase and improve your credit score. So the next reason why using credit cards for purchases can be valuable is because sometimes you get money for 7 weeks interest-free. So with a credit card, typically you have a 30-day billing cycle, and then after your bill comes available, you typically have a 21-day grace period before you have to pay that credit card, before they start charging you interest. So if you make a purchase at the very beginning of your billing cycle, you'll have 7 weeks before you actually have to pay it back. So it's an interest-free loan for 7 weeks. It's not your money. They're not charging you anything until you surpass that point. However, I never really recommend surpassing that point. Pay back your credit card before they start charging you interest, because interest on a credit card is typically a very high interest rate. So another reason is the additional benefits, the additional rewards you get from using a credit card. So that could be something like, air miles, reward points for using for flights. That could be cash back. Maybe you get 1, 2, or 3% cash back on purchases with your credit card. In my case, I have a credit card where I get points at a grocery store where I buy my groceries. So it's a way for me to save money on those purchases by using the credit card to make purchases in the first place. On top of that, there can be other benefits like, maybe getting into airport lounges or, extended warranties on purchases, or maybe even some travel insurance that's built into a credit card. So there are those additional benefits as well. Another reason is because credit cards are very widely accepted. It doesn't really matter where I'm purchasing something from, whether that's somewhere physically in person with a POS system or online, through businesses near where I live or, businesses overseas. Credit cards are very widely accepted, so it's an easy way to make payment. And then the last reason is because it's not your money yet, which in a way is a bad thing, but also can be a good thing when you're making purchases, because if something goes wrong with a purchase or you're charged an amount that you weren't supposed to, then it's not actually taking from your money, it's taking from the credit card company's money that you're supposed to pay back. But if you can contact them and sort it out, then it wasn't money taken from you, it was money that you were going to have to pay back, but now you don't have to because you got it sorted out that it was a fraudulent transaction or an improper transaction of whatever sort. So hopefully this video was useful. And again, it really just depends on the individual, on your preferences, what works for you. Don't force yourself to use a credit card just because there are benefits to it. If you are going to misuse it and spend a bunch of money on it that you can't pay back and then have to start paying high interest rates on it and hurt your credit score and things like that. So hopefully this video was useful. If so, please click like. And feel free to check out my YouTube channel here, where I currently have over 265 videos that cover business management topics and business startup topics.